going on, blue collar sports fans? We're here with another episode of Blue Collar Sports. Anthony, we got Scott and Hitman as usual.
Yo.
And guys, tonight's our first football episode here. We're gonna talk some Chicago Bears football tonight. So me, as you guys see, I'm the retarded Eagles fan. So I don't know too much about Bears, so I'll let you guys take over mainly, and I'll just jump in when I got a question for you. And I'm looking forward to being educated here on some Chicago Bears football tonight. So,
well, I don't necessarily know about education, but we are going to talk some Chicago Bears football.
All right. So, let's
For the record, I'm a Raider fan, but yes, I do care about the Chicago Bears a lot.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, I don't know. It kind of seems to me the biggest story with the Bears right now would be Ryan Pace and his decision signing Andy Dalton. I mean, do you guys agree with that, or is there a bigger topic with the Bears right now? Hitman?
You or me, Hitman, yeah.
You can go first, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan Pace. I was debating how I wanted to do this. Ryan, I think he's a smart guy. I think he knows what he's doing, but I shouldn't say that. That's probably too strong of words, but just over the years now of decision making with the draft coming up, I don't want him in charge of another draft, and he's going to be in charge of another draft. Has he found good players later in the rounds of the draft? Yes, he has. But that you go back to the one thing everybody thinks of is the Mitch Trubisky thing. The guy traded up to get Mitch Trubisky, and ever since then, the Bears have been what? I mean, what do you call them? Mediocre at best? I mean, I don't call it. I mean, that's the thing with the quarterback in this. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. I mean, I know there's examples of, Joe Flacco. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't have a quarterback in this league nowadays, you're not going to win. And he put the team so far back, and I can't get over that. And now with these recent moves, I mean, it's like, what are we doing? We're sitting here, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles. I mean, I know Nick Foles has the Super Bowl win in a different situation. I understand that, but he hasn't shown any of that with the Bears.
No.
So it's just, I don't know, with the Bears, it's the constant, like, they're stuck in the middle, and I don't see a way out. I don't see an easy way out anywhere. I don't see it changing anytime soon. I don't see, do they tank and go for a quarterback? Do they put together some crazy trade for Deshaun Watson? I mean, that's probably not going to happen now.
No, I mean, I don't know. I kind of, if they were going to trade for Deshaun Watson, they have the pieces to do that. I don't understand why they went after Andy Dalton. It's just mind-boggling. And to go back to what you said about Nick Foles, I don't like Nick Foles being compared to any quarterback. Nick Foles walked into a very good situation. He didn't start that season off and build that Super Bowl team that year. You know what I mean? He wasn't
Nick
the one.
Foles is like the weirdest. He's like the weirdest. Like, he slayed Tom Brady and Bill.
Oh, we lost Scott. Hey, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, why don't you?
Well, my issue with Ryan Pace, well, how much time do we have? Because I might go on an epic rant.
Go for it.
Hey, Scott, not to cut you off, Hitman. Scott, we lost you for a couple seconds, man.
Yeah, finish your point.
I
don't even know.
We lost you when you said
I saw it. It said
Tom Brady.
Yeah, like I just said, Nick Foles is the guy. I don't know how to describe him. He's the guy who conquered Tom Brady and the almighty Patriots, but he still kind of sucks as a quarterback. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. He threw 7 touchdown passes in a game. That one year he was on track to be an MVP, I think, for the Eagles. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like 23 touchdowns and like 3 picks or something. He threw that entire season. That season he started. You there, Scott? Oh, we lost him again, Hitman.
All right. Well, here's my thing with Ryan Pace, and I'm the reason why I asked how much time do we have, because I might go into an epic rant. I'm gonna try not to, but I've kind of been looking for a little bit. When he was brought on board 7-8 years ago, we had to clean up a mess from him. I give him tons of credit for cleaning that mess up, and we all remember the whole Phil Emery and Mark Trestman era. Matter of fact, I'm sure some of us would not like to remember that era. But when you fast forward to present day Chicago Bears, Ryan Pace has been a disappointment in terms of his early day picks, his first, second, and third round picks. And this is going back to Kevin White, to the trading up for Mitchell Trubisky. Full transparency, I wasn't a fan of that pick. I rooted for Trubisky because he happens to be the quarterback of my favorite football team. My issues with the trade was you didn't need to move up and give up all that capital just to get one guy. I personally wanted, Mahomes. I wasn't even a Watson guy. I wanted Mahomes. I actually preferred the Bears to trade back, gain more assets, and draft Mahomes. Scotty, you and I talked about this plenty of Mondays. As far as what's going on right now, I mean, his drafts have been mediocre at best. The drafting of Adam Shaheen, the trading up for Anthony Miller. You could give him credit for Roquan Smith, but he hasn't got the quarterback right. And if you can't get that position right as a general manager, then you deserve to be fired. My other issue goes to the fact that, all right, you drafted Trubisky and you bring in this offensive coordinator or this offensive coordinator to be the head coach of the Bears, who has a system that doesn't advance what your young quarterback does well. That's my other issue. And unfortunately, it took him a year and a half and also giving up play calling duties to figure that out. I don't necessarily know, what the future holds for this franchise, but my question will be this: who's in charge of that organization? Because Ryan Pace should not be in charge of this draft. I just don't foresee any good changes for this organization anytime soon, as long as that guy is running the personnel department of that organization. That's just my own personal thing.
And with those issues too that you're talking about with the offense, they're just stuck in whatever mode. They're stuck in neutral, basically. That defense, that special defense that you have, you trade for Khalil Mack, you sign Robert Quinn, Eddie Jackson, we struggled last year. You got this super awesome defense. They're getting another year older. They got to deal with another mediocre quarterback, 2 mediocre quarterbacks. I mean, eventually this defense isn't going to be what they are, so they got to build that back up again too. Khalil Mack isn't getting any younger. So that's
yeah. I mean, Kyle Fuller isn't here anymore.
Another thing.
So,
who's the defensive lineman they gave permission to seek a trade?
Akeem Hicks, but allegedly he'll be back. But Ryan Pace has mismanaged this team so badly over the past couple of years that it put them in a really bad financial bind where now you're forcing to cut folks. And to be honest, I mean, they're past their window, to be perfectly honest with you. The whole point of paying that defense all that money was the fact that they were hoping that Nagy could unlock Trubisky, considering Trubisky was on a rookie contract, and they could get a Super Bowl before actually trying to pay him. And now because he missed out on the quarterback. And now you got to go out and try to, find one because you missed out in the draft. Now you have to make tough decisions on that once vaunted defense. And that's what it boils down to. Ryan Pace missed on the quarterback. Missed badly.
So is it fair to say that the Bears have been pretty much riding their defense or trying to ride their defense to a championship, and they've pretty much said the hell with the quarterback position?
I wouldn't say that.
Watson.
But that's been Chicago Bears football since I've been alive. I mean,
I like I said, I'm not a Bears fan, period, but I do watch them on TV, and it kind of seems like that way to me. That they're always saying the hell with the quarterback position. I cannot remember. I guess their last good quarterback, Cutler. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he seems to own the majority of the passing records. I actually looked up he's the Bears passing leader. I mean, and touchdowns and in yards. I mean, that's where we are. I mean, the top 5 Bear quarterbacks are like Cutler, Sid Luckman, McMahon. I think Harbaugh might be up there, and then
Henry Burris.
No, and Trubisky's number 5.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Trubisky.
Well, I don't blame Mitch Trubisky for any of this.
Oh, absolutely. I don't. I don't. No, I don't blame him. I think it goes higher than him. It goes to Matt Nagy for not having the vision to have an offense that plays to your quarterback's strengths. Don't wait until all of a sudden your jobs are on the line in one season to win 4 games against bad teams for you to make the playoffs before you to change stuff. It's dumbfounding to me how they did that. It goes above Matt Nagy, it goes to Ryan Pace. Hell, it goes to Ted Phillips and the McCaskey family, which goes back to my original point. Who's in charge of this organization? Who does George McCaskey report to? Is it Virginia? I mean, does Virginia need? I mean, what? I'm sure Virginia is, not happy with what is going on, but I'm floored at the ineptitude of this organization, and I feel bad for anybody who shells out season tickets, money for season tickets.
And it just continues. It continues. That's what the strange thing is. It continues from GM to GM to GM to head coach to head coach to head coach. It's like the same shit over.
Lost it.
Yeah, we keep losing him.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a I don't know. I'm at a loss for words for this organization because being a Bears fan all my life, all I ever wanted was I got a chance to see a Super Bowl in 2007 season, but they've been kind of up and down with more down since that year.
And again, that Super Bowl season, that was primarily their defense, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, they had some very explosive offensive games. I mean, Rex Grossman was up until let's say week 8 or 9 was a pretty good quarterback. And actually in the playoffs, he actually had a couple of throws that were very, very good. But yeah, to your point, I mean, that position within this town, it's just been bad. It's just been bad.
Hey, Scott, when they traded for Khalil Mack, what did the Raiders get for him?
They got with those picks, they got Josh Jacobs. They got God, who was the third? Josh Jacobs. They got Jonathan Abram, and then they got the following year. I think they got Henry Ruggs. I think that was the last pick for Khalil Mack.
No, in
So
your
I
guys'
could be wrong on that. I could be wrong on that, but
okay. In your guys' opinion, Scott, I want you to answer first. How come they can't do something of that magnitude to land a quarterback? Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. In your opinion,
well, I mean, I'm sure they could, but I mean, if you trade your whole team away, I mean, that's great. You have a quarterback, but now what? I mean, if I don't know exactly what the report was. It was 3 first-round draft picks, Khalil Mack. It was like everybody, right? I mean, you
yeah.
give that away. That's a pretty good dent in your team right there. I mean, yeah, you can trade it and then start from there and build then, but now you don't have first-round draft picks. I mean, you can go through rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and hope you get lucky. But I mean, I don't know. By that time, I mean that quarterback might be bad, and then they want to trade for Russell Wilson, who how old is he? He's 32.
yeah,
Was he
it's somewhere
32? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like all the talk was on Russell Wilson. I'm like, no, I'd rather go after Deshaun Watson. The kid's young and a few years in the league, but I mean, who knows what that takes? And now with the sexual scandal or whatever he's going through, I don't think anybody's going to touch him for a while. So, and no pun intended. But yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't think they're bad enough to tank for a quarterback, but I don't know what the easy fix is. I don't see it. I don't see it in the near future, at least.
I don't think there's an easy fix. I mean, the only thing that the Bears fans can hope for is that they have another you know mediocre season, or at least this year they're playing 17 games, and maybe they can go 8-9, or instead of whatever that is, or 8-9 instead of the normal record. But the I just don't. I don't. There is no quick fix with this organization. There truly isn't. Um, and I don't necessarily know if McCaskey's. I don't want to say care. I'm sure they care about winning. I don't think the McCaskies have the football sense to know what's going on. I think that's a better. I think they're good business people, but I don't think they have anybody within that organization that knows football. That's why they hired Ryan Pace. And I think Ryan Pace is a good scout or pro personnel guy, but I don't think he can run an actual team.
now, myself being an Eagles fan, I know how it feels as a fan to say, "The hell with it, throw everything to trade up in the draft or to trade for a certain player. We want a Super Bowl." You think that's where Bears fans are at right now? Trade whoever you have to get that top shelf quarterback in here to win us a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they are. Some are like that. I'm also sure others are like, let's tank. So let's burn it all to the ground so we can start all over. But
Now, Hitman, being a Bears fan, aren't you sick of saying that? I mean, burn it all down, let's rebuild.
the Bears have never done that. The Bears have never done that. The Bears have always been an organization that piecemeal. I mean, honestly, what Chicago organization outside of the, maybe the White Sox and going back to our original, things, outside of the White Sox,
Eli,
yeah, outside of the White Sox and the Cubs that have actually burned it down and been successful. Maybe the Blackhawks. I mean, they got lucky with their picks, but the Bears have never been an organization that said, hey, we're gonna tank.
Are you guys willing to sit around during a rebuild, or do you want it now?
No, I mean, I'll look. If the McCaskies hired the right guy, and he came out and said, "This is our vision that we're gonna, that it's going to be tough for a little bit, but bear with us." I as a fan can be like, "All right, that's fine. Give me a plan." All you got to do is give me a plan. Just tell me your plan, and I'll be okay with that. All this stuff about collaboration and whatever. Look, the Bears been collaborating since '85, and it hasn't worked. So I'm just to a point where, show me. If you're going to go out and get Watson, gonna go out and get Russell Wilson, fine, but go get him. I mean, don't be in this situation where all of a sudden, since they didn't get him, they didn't get Russell Wilson. It leaked that of what they gave up, so all Bears fans could be like, "Oh, at least you tried." No. As a fan, show me. I don't. You don't get cookies from me because you tried. You're not a 5-year-old.
Scott, same question for
What was the question? I think we were cut out when I had the actual question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You say you're also a Bears fan. Are you willing to sit around during a rebuild, or?
Oh yeah, that I heard.
Right now?
Yes, yeah, no. Like Hitman said, it depends on who's running the rebuild. Sure. Do I want Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy doing it? No. I'm sure they're great guys. I'm sure they're nice guys, but no, I don't want them rebuilding the team. I don't know who. I couldn't give you a name. I'm not smart enough to know a guy out there who can put a team together. But if they can find the right guy and the look that comes out and says, "Hey, we're gonna, you got to be patient, Bears fans. We're gonna build to something." Yeah, I'd be willing to wait. Absolutely, I'd be willing to wait. It's better than what they're in now. This mediocre 8-8 bullshit where they sneak into the playoffs and have no real chance, or they just miss the playoffs. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, it's about winning championships, and they're not close to it yet.
What did you say a few minutes ago, Hitman? They beat 4 crappy teams to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they beat 4 crappy teams to make the playoffs. That's in essence what saved Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's job. It's because they were able to beat Jacksonville, Minnesota, and then 2 other crappy ass teams towards the end of the year, they backdoor themselves into the playoff, and then they get their ass kicked by New Orleans. So I mean, this organization has to show me something. And to my point earlier about who's going to run a rebuild, I don't even know if the McCaskies have, like I said, the sports sense to even know who's even out there. I don't even think they have connections like that. And that's another thing. I'm never going to be a person that's going to say, "Hey, the McCaskies should sell the team." I'm not going to be that guy. But I do want them to be able to talk to other people. I mean, Lawrence Holmes had a segment on The Score about a couple of weeks ago where he talked about how the Bears do a really, really bad job of talking to some of their former players. And I'm not one to be like, "Oh, they should bring back Ditka or the '85 team," but some of the more recent people, like a Matt Forte or a Patrick Manley or somebody like that, that's a little bit younger and who's just recently stopped playing for the team. Like, talk to them and find out what's going on with this group, with this franchise, and that way, because I'm pretty sure those guys have connections in the league. Talk to somebody just to see what's going on, and they won't do it. They won't do it, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, those are good points. What was your guys' reaction when you heard that Ryan Pace went out and signed Andy Dalton instead of rolling with Trubisky? Because aren't they pretty much the same player?
I was disappointed because I felt like that $10 million could have been better served, and Trubisky signed for 2.5 to be a backup. I just felt like if you're going to roll with Andy Dalton, then you could have just brought back Trubisky for less. But I think they wanted to move forward, move from Trubisky, which is fine. I also think Ryan Pace he panicked. I don't have any evidence of this, but I truly think that the guy that they wanted was Jameis Winston. And once he went back to New Orleans because Drew Brees retired, then all those other quarterbacks like Fitzpatrick and I think there was another guy that signed after Fitzpatrick, he he was like, well, if I can't get Russell Wilson, I'm gonna, try and trade for, try and get Andy Dalton. And unfortunately, he overpaid for Andy Dalton, just like he overpaid for Mike Glennon. So just to answer your point, I thought, if you're going to, spend the money to, bring in Andy Dalton, you might as well just bring in the money, spend the money to bring back Trubisky. But I think at that point that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are just, all right, we're done with this guy. Let's just, wash our hands with it.
Scott, Andy Dalton reaction.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I mean, I think getting rid of Trubisky, just to get him out of there so the fans stop talking about him, I think that's probably one of the reasons he's gone. But yeah, I'd rather have him playing instead of Andy Dalton or who's the other guy, Nick Foles. But this organization, who knows what the hell? Whatever I want, they're not going to do. So I mean, it's just, I don't know, just got to roll with it, I guess, until they figure out what they want to do quarterback wise. Because until they get that figured out, we're kind of stuck.
Well, my issue going back to even the last season was, the whole sham of a quarterback competition. I don't think that was a competition. I think it was, and once again, I have no inside knowledge. This is just me spitballing here. I think it was predetermined that Mitch Trubisky will begin the year as a starter and have him struggle to where Nick Foles can come in and save the day and look good because that was Matt Nagy's boy. Well, but Matt Nagy didn't figure that his offense would be just as bad or as worse up under Foles as it was under Trubisky. And then now you're in a situation where, once again, Trubisky's back in the lineup and he had to save, win 4 games just to make the playoffs and save their jobs. I mean, that's kind of where we're at this point. Not to mention the Bears gave up a 4th-round pick and gave Nick Foles $21 million.
Oh,
I didn't know they gave him that much.
Yeah. So
are you kind of trying to make the point that they were hoping he brought some of that, what he did over in Philly, he brought it over?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the fact that of what he did with the Eagles, and also he knows Matt Nagy's offense. I mean, that was the whole point. I mean, to get somebody that's familiar with Matt Nagy's offense, the problem is they haven't been able to run Matt Nagy's offense as Matt Nagy's been here. And that's been, that's
a problem.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem right now. And it's just sad because he was brought in to basically be Matt Nagy's boy. I mean, there was a point during a Monday Night Football game where Nick Foles was like, "Why are we running plays? Why are we running these certain kind of plays? We can't block them up." And then I think I told you guys this when I went and visit Bears training camp a couple of years ago. I told you guys that I had concerns about the offense then, that the best quarterback in the day of training camp that I went to was Matt Nagy. Trubisky was bad. Chase Daniel was bad. Tyler Bray was bad. And then at the end, Matt Nagy is throwing darts to, wide receivers during training camp.
The route I thought they were going to take that I wish they would have taken, I'm not saying this is the answer, and I don't know how much, I don't mean to bring the Raiders into it, but trying to trade for Mariota. I mean, I don't think that's an answer, but young kid, had some success in the league, but at the same time, you don't know what Gruden's asking for him. It's probably something ridiculous. So
yeah, well, I don't even know.
I don't think that might not be an improvement, but it's something. It's a young QB.
I don't even know, what the necessarily answer would be, because I kind of want this front office to be gone.
Right.
I just don't know exactly what the answer for for this team will be outside of hoping that they go, you know, it's going to be odd for me to think about a 17-game schedule. So now I'm trying to think, oh, they need to go 6-11, you know, but if they go, you know, 6-11, 5-12, whatever, I mean, that should be good enough to get, you know, Ryan Pace gone. But then again, we don't even know what the McCaskies are thinking at this point. I mean,
Well, we
Ryan
still don't even
Pace,
know how long they're signed, right? Isn't that a
we
thing?
don't.
Yeah,
We don't.
That's
We don't.
weird.
You know, normally you'll know that. Well, see, the only other organization that I knew that would keep that stuff a secret would be the Bulls, and that's just how the Bulls roll. But you know, I mean, Danny Parker's brought that up before the end of the year. It was like we don't even know if these guys are tied to each other. I know they were when Matt Nagy was hired. They gave Pace 2 extra years, but we don't even know if either one of them got contract extensions. The Bears won't release that information.
Have either of you guys seen the Bears schedule this year?
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah. These dates are to be determined. I'm just going to read off the teams they're playing this year. Of course, Detroit and Green Bay, Minnesota, Arizona, San Francisco, Baltimore, Cincinnati, the Giants, the Browns, the Rams, Steelers, Seahawks, and Tampa Bay.
No, the Bears will win 5 games this year.
And the Raiders.
And possibly
and possibly the Raiders, assuming that the 17-game season is approved. Yeah, the Bears will win 4. They'll win 4 or 5 games this year.
And it just does if that's true, does Nagy and Pace, do they still have a job?
Well, that's the big question. Well, in my opinion,
that's scary. That's scary. Yeah.
In my opinion,
that was actually going to be my next topic question is Matt Nagy. Like if
I don't know. I would say
what needs to go wrong this season for Matt Nagy to lose his job.
Well, the Bears they win 4 or 5 games. I think they're done. But that's my own personal opinion. But I don't know what the McCaskies are thinking at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. With Matt Nagy, I'm a nice guy, but like when they had a 6-game losing streak last year and everything's all positivity, and rebounding and bouncing back, and we're going to get out of this together. And it's just like, I don't know. That's not, I know people respond to that, but I just like when you lose 6 games in a row, you want to like, come on, like what the fuck? Like, let's get going. You know, that's just how I am, but I don't know. And then just the way they talk to the fans, like remember that end of the year press conference, they were talking about accountability. That's all they were talking about is how accountability. Now they were accountable. No, they're not. They haven't been accountable for anything yet. I mean, they keep getting rewarded with having a job. So, I mean, until they do something, that doesn't, I mean, unless that's not what accountability means.
Yeah, that's a big problem for me in football.
I just hate that they're an organization that, like, I know a lot of them do it, but they talk to the fans like they're idiots. Like, there's no possible way you guys can understand our job. You know, that pisses me off. And
when you're on a 6-game losing streak and you see your quarterback and your head coach go up there, they're just not pissed off. They're just nonchalant. Again, what Scott said, the whole
I totally get
accountability.
That. Yeah, I mean, there is no accountability up there. Because if there were, you know, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace wouldn't have jobs going into this new season. And I'm just curious to see what exactly, you know, what's going on and you know, and who's in charge. I mean, who does George McCaskey report to outside of Mom? I mean, what are the shareholders saying? Because I'm sure they're pissed. I'm sure they're pissed about what this product is. You know, what about some of the alumni? You know, they're pissed about what's going on right now. Hell, if you follow any of the former Bears on social media, you know, they're, you know, I joke about the meatballs, but you know what? Sometimes meatballs got to come out. And for right now, this
Oh boy.
organization, this organization is bad. It is. It's horrible. It's horribly ran, from the top to the bottom. The only thing that the Bears got going from that's pretty good is Tony Mettler, their equipment manager. That's the only thing good thing that the Bears got going.
Now, speaking of the word accountability, how much do you guys put on Matt Nagy for their failures and their troubles within that organization? We've talked about how much Ryan Pace is responsible for. What do you guys put on Matt Nagy's shoulders?
A lot. He's he was brought in as this offensive genius, and it worked for a while. And then I don't know if just the league caught up to what he was doing, but I mean, it didn't work for that long. And just what was it? He didn't want to run the ball ever. Remember that? Like 50 pass attempts every game, and then it's like just run the ball. And then Montgomery's finally coming alive because he can run the ball. And just the stubbornness, but then of course now that leads to I forgot who's calling plays now.
Bill Lazor.
His name. Yeah,
Bill Lazor.
right. So it's just in a year and a half. What has it been? A year and a half? He's run himself out of play calling duties. That's shocking right there. I mean that it went that quick because he does good things. But then he does the tricky things that we've talked about before. Just when they're trying to waste clock, and they throw passes on 3rd and short when they're trying to drain clock, and then I don't know, just shit like that. It drives me insane. Where he's trying to be too cute all the time. That stuff drives me insane, and it's just shit like that. That it's like coaches like Bill Belichick. You don't see him doing that. Andy Reid. You don't see him doing that.
No.
It's like they make the game harder on themselves, and it's just. I like Matt Nagy maybe as a coordinator, but I don't know. It just hasn't. I don't think it's worked out here. Maybe it will somewhere else in his future, but I don't see it working with Chicago.
I mean, there's some onus that Matt Nagy has to take, and part of that is not being able to develop Trubisky. I personally would like to know what was said in that interview that Ryan Pace had with Matt Nagy 3-4 years ago.
Is that the main reason he was brought in here? In your opinion, to develop Trubisky?
Well, I mean, that's part of it. But I also think that, he was brought in to take the Bears offense to the next step. And, there was a few games in 2018 where that happened. But then after that, whether it's the league finally, just like Scott said, finally caught up and Trubisky not being able to adjust. For whatever reason, it just didn't work out, in 2019 and parts of last season. But if you're a good coach, instead of you trying to force your offense on your team, you'll adjust. And unfortunately, it wasn't up until Trubisky came back as a starter where they adjusted, and Trubisky even said it. He was like, I want to run stuff that makes me comfortable. And we saw that. I just wish that that was done, 8-9 weeks beforehand. But you got coordinators that, especially people like Nagy who wants to run their stuff instead of adjusting. And that's just a person who's just a first-time head coach. I mean, I've seen it, at different levels of sport. So, but yeah, I do have some issues with Matt Nagy.
Hey, Scott, you said you had a little rant or something you wanted to talk about. Did you want to do that now, or do you want to hold off on it?
No, it pretty much happened. It's just not as, just this everything with the Bears. That's what it is. It's aggravating. It's just as a fan, it's just the more you think about it, the more it pisses you off. It just that they're this major market team. They're the Chicago Bears, and they act like they're a mid-market team, and it's just. I don't know. Other teams are finding it out. They figure it out. The Bears just can't for whatever reason. The quarterback position. I know that's been their story forever. It's just, it's just the fact that you don't know where it's going. You don't know how long it's going to take. it's just aggravating as a fan, and it's it's just something you got to deal with. I mean, there's nothing we could do about it, and it pisses me off. It does. I'm sure it pisses off a lot of the Bears fans, but I don't see any improvement in the next what? I mean, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. I mean, I don't see anything major changing unless they find something in the draft that we just don't know about. But,
Yeah, I mean I agree with Scott. I don't know if anything's going to change unless you know people are fired or they get lucky this year and make the playoffs. But it is the NFL. I mean, you never know. It's probably the most random sport outside of playoff hockey. But I just don't know what exactly could be done for this organization to be successful outside of, I don't know, changing the top. If you don't change the top, then you're not going to go anywhere.
that's the horrible. That's the bad thing is that for change to happen, it's not a quick process. So it's like, just as we sit here now, we know we have this long, grueling wait and transition with coaches and front office and players, and we're wasting players like Allen Robinson. We're dicking him around with his contract and all that. It's just, it's like it's all for nothing, basically. I mean, I know it's not as simple as that, but in theory, to me, it just seems like it's all for nothing. It's just going in circles.
Now, through lack of knowledge on my end, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bears, since Nagy took over, they've been pass heavy, correct?
Correct.
Why will they not utilize David Montgomery more? In my opinion, I think he's a good running back.
Because Matt Nagy's from the Andy Reid school of, we're gonna throw. That's what Andy Reid does.
But Nagy has to clearly be able to see that they do not have a good pass game.
I agree with you, and which is why they changed the plays towards the later part of the year. Actually, I think Bill Lazor became the offensive coordinator after like week 8 or 9, and they started to run the ball a little bit more. And actually, during that time frame after Bill Lazor became the offensive coordinator, I think David Montgomery was like 3rd in the league in rushing. I think he finished 3rd or 4th in the NFL in rushing yards after all that. It's and once again, this is going to go back to being a meatball. You live you play in a cold weather city. You play on the lakefront.
Fair weather. Sorry.
Exactly.
He's
Run
tough.
Run the football.
Good.
Run the football. If it's 3rd and 1, run it.
No, he tries a flea flicker on 3rd and 1. That's the Matt Nagy way.
Yeah, no, look, I'm all about, if you want to throw the ball or try to take a deep shot on 2nd and 1 or,
Right.
second and 4, fine. But on 3rd and 1, you can't. Yeah, you got to run the ball. I mean, you can't line up, 5-on-5 and block it. My problem with Nagy is that he tries to be too cute. Don't be cute. You don't have to be cute.
There's a lot of games. I can't bring up any specifics, but hey, man, I'm sure you know this. There's a lot of games where he tried to be too cute and got away with it. But if he didn't, like, holy shit, you're leaving guys like Aaron Rodgers with 2 minutes left on the clock, to drive down the field and score. He does shit like that. Like, I know it's going to come bite him. It never did, but I'm just waiting for it to happen once in the playoffs or something too.
Well, even if you go back to 2018, there was a couple of times he was cute that didn't bite him. But I think it bit him more towards like 2019, 2020. And there's some of the stuff where they were like pitch the ball to Cordell Patterson on a 3rd and 1 instead of just giving it to Montgomery up the middle.
Right.
Stuff like that. So I get the whole aspect of you want to move the offense to a 21st century style offense. I get that, but I think there's some. I think there has to be some common sense, and I would love to just sit down with Matt Nagy. Okay, what's your thought process when you see this, or what's going on? I would love to to have a conversation.
Now, Hitman, could you see, after everything we've just said, could you see a possibility where the Bears go 13-4 now? Could you see that
No.
possibility?
No.
Okay. Just throwing it out there. Maybe they catch
look.
magic.
Look, the problem that this team has outside of the quarterback is that your defense is a year older, and you're missing your best, their best corner. The best corner was cut because of cap reasons.
Well, they have Desmond Trufant now.
He's not Kyle Fuller, and Desmond Trufant can't stay healthy. Which goes to my larger point. This team still has issues.
Hitman's hulking up.
Huh?
Hitman's hulking up.
No, I mean it's this team still has issues. I mean,
he's gonna go back out in the living room.
Right. I mean, you still have.
Where's my head?
You're right. You still gotta try and find a quarterback. You still gotta try and find a quarterback. You still gotta try and find
these alternatives here.
Right. A wide receiver. You need 2 cornerbacks, a safety, offensive lineman. With lack of draft picks and money, where's all that going to come from? 4 wins this year. 4 wins.
Oh, that's
4.
bold.
One more than Philly will have.
Hey, you know what? I'll take Jalen Hurts over Andy Dalton and Nick Foles at this point.
Now the Bears just signed Damian Williams, right?
No, I mean, look, there are a couple of off-season, free agents that they signed that I actually do like.
I think
Damian Williams. Damian Williams is one.
Does that with them signing Williams? Does that tell you they're gonna go back to a run-heavy offense?
No, that just means that they're going to use. They're going to throw to the backs a little bit more. I could be wrong about that, but I mean, it's just another weapon that Matt Nagy has. Whether he knows how to use it or not is a different story. But
Cohen?
Huh?
Is Tariq Cohen still on the team?
Yes.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just another so-called weapon that Matt Nagy can use or not use. But at the end of the day, you still got to be able to have a quarterback that can get these people the ball. I mean, I don't know if Andy Dalton could do that.
If you think about it, the Bears can potentially have a dangerous backfield with Cohen, Montgomery, and now Williams. You agree or disagree?
No, they could. They absolutely could. But I still have no confidence in Matt Nagy to call plays or call the right play at the right time. It
doesn't help that they don't have an NFL tight end too. I mean, I like Cole Kmet, but I mean, he's got to step it up. I mean, especially in today's NFL.
Yeah, we lost him again.
Yeah,
let's keep going on tight end talk. So when he comes back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do like, Cole Kmet. He had a decent year. But once again, I mean, it goes back to, Ryan Pace drafting of Adam Shaheen. If he didn't take that flyer of Adam Shaheen or even actually ever, let's say he drafted who's the tight end from the 49ers? He was there.
What guy?
George Kittle. That's his name. Yeah, if he was there, if they had actually drafted him instead of Shaheen, all right, cool. But now, they had to spend money on, on Jimmy Graham and another draft pick on Cole Kmet once again, and because you don't know how to draft in the first place. So
how do you like the Brad Biggs report of, sorry to cut you off, of the Bears targeting wide receivers and or defensive backs in the first round. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, they need to because they need two cornerbacks.
Right.
Kyle Fuller's gone, and then the other starter, Jalen Johnson, can't stay healthy. So you in essence need to find two corners in this draft. Two cornerbacks who are starter ready in this draft. Because Jalen Johnson can't stay healthy, and Kyle Fuller is gone. Yeah. On top of the other needs that you need. Once again, you need safety, you need offensive lineman, you need another edge rusher. This team's got,
they don't know where to start.
Well, and that's the problem. And that's the problem. That's why as much as I want, Russell Wilson, as much as I want Deshaun Watson, yes, you have the franchise quarterback, but you're giving up so many assets, and you don't have the cap space, at least this year, to cover up that stuff, and you'd be giving up future, draft assets for that star quarterback. And I don't necessarily know if that's worth it. Because at the end of the day, Ryan Pace is still going to be in charge of drafting.
That's a good point.
I mean, if it's a situation where, they were fired at the end of the year and, the new guy came in and said, hey, this is our plan. We're going to, try to gain assets and stuff like that. That'd be a good thing. That'd be a good thing. I mean, but at this point, with the way the Bears are structured, it's going to be a very, very tough, couple of years.
Do you think they'll draft anyone to help Andy Dalton?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, there's been some mock drafts that had the Bears take a couple of wide receivers. There was one out of Minnesota, and then there's one out of Purdue.
What number do they get this year?
20.
20.
They're drafting 20. So, and then plus they can draft a young quarterback in the third round if they want to do that. But the question is going to boil down to this. I mean, if they draft a quarterback within the first 3 rounds, do you want Matt Nagy to be that person that's nurturing this quarterback?
Nope.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I have one more small topic, and Scott, it goes back to what you were saying about tight ends. Zach Ertz wants to get traded. Should the Bears trade for Zach Ertz?
How old is Zach Ertz? He's up there now, isn't he?
Can't be older than 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no for the simple fact that I don't think this team should be giving up draft capital at this point, unless you're trading for a quarterback.
Yeah, Zach Ertz is 30 years old.
I don't know if it's Nagy. I don't know if it's the quarterbacking. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily give up draft capital at this point. Actually, I'm all about getting more assets at this point.
Scott, you say they should or shouldn't trade for Ertz?
No, I say no. Not now. Sorry if I was cutting out again, but no, I would just with where they're at now, go with Kmet. The guy's got to have talent. He was a high draft pick. I know he's got talent in there somewhere, but they just have to find it. So I mean, I just work with Kmet for now. Let some like I don't know who like some competing team will probably go after Ertz.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had. Unless you guys have more. I'll let you guys take over if you said more.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say I could I can easily see the Bears being last place in the NFC North.
Ooh.
You know, that's
You see the
obviously
Lions, you see the
Huh?
Lions beating out the Bears?
yeah,
Jared Goff.
yeah. Um, the Vikings are still halfway decent for the most part, and you still got the Packers. They're not going to beat the Packers for the division, they're just not. But like I said, I can. And maybe it's just a gloom and doom in me because I'm still aggravated about the Bears, but I don't. Unless they shock me somehow, I think 5-6 wins, 4 or 5-6 wins, it's it's probably the max for them.
Yeah, that was depressing. I'm like sad now after talking about the Bears. Ugh.
Well, I mean,
White Sox.
all right.
White Sox.
I feel bad for just the fans who
White
spend
Sox.
those right them too.
Call up your
Spend
mean
money.
Mercedes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just feel bad for the fans that spend money on their season tickets. Because here's the thing: if the Bears are good, just think of how much money the city makes, and how I don't know. It's the last time the Bears had a remote chance of making the Super Bowl was probably what 2010, 2011 when the Packers beat them in the Super Bowl. Or not Super Bowl, but in the NFC Championship game.
Well, that was the broken play by who was the safety?
No, that was the NFC Championship game was the year that Cutler got hurt and never didn't come back.
Well, I remember that, but didn't they have like the broken play and then there was the deep ball to who was the white Jordy Nelson? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, that was the play, but it was more so that was like to determine who will win the NFC North. Because both teams came in with like the same record at that point.
Oh, okay.
So I think that was Trestman's first year.
Yeah, right.
So, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not I'm not really looking forward to the Bears this year.
4 wins.
That's where I'm at with it. I can barely see them. I mean, Tony, read that schedule again, or their opponents.
Hold on, let me get it back here.
Ooh, so does my team have the best quarterback then?
Out of our 3 teams, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, here's their schedule. The Lions, Packers, Vikings, Cardinals, 49ers, Ravens, Bengals, Giants, Browns, Rams, Steelers, Seahawks, and Bucks.
You can squeak
3 wins
out of there. No.
I mean,
one more time.
You lose 2.
One more time.
I'm gonna pay attention this time. Go slow.
Okay, of course, the Lions, Packers, Vikings.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, they're gonna win one of those. Okay.
Cardinals.
Win. No. Lost. Never mind. Go ahead.
49ers.
They're gonna win.
Ravens.
They're gonna lose.
Bengals.
They're gonna win.
Giants.
They're gonna win. 4. We're at 4.
Browns.
They're gonna win. Fuck the Browns.
Disagree. Rams.
Lose.
They lost.
Pittsburgh.
They're gonna beat Pittsburgh.
Seahawks.
They're gonna lose.
Buccaneers.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, lost.
They're gonna beat them. They're gonna beat Tom Brady. Get out of here. 7 wins.
And if they play the Raiders?
Lost.
They're gonna lose. Oh God, lose.
I got them at 4 wins.
4 wins.
That'll be one of the Raiders' 3 wins against the Bears.
I don't know. You guys have anything else?
What should we do next week? We got a baseball game on next week in our time slot. Should we
Let's
do
do
it
a
before?
whole episode on Micro Adolfo.
Oh,
Micro Adolfo.
I'm gonna be sick that day. No, but seriously, we got a Sox game at like 8:00 next Sunday.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Are we gonna be sitting here? I'm gonna be watching the TV the whole time.
Yeah, right.
No, we'll probably be texting back and forth from each other. We should
Right.
probably just do one like maybe that Tuesday after the game.
Yeah,
What if they're
we have to start moving some things around here.
You know, it would be entertaining if we could somehow get our text messages to like pop up as a video.
Oh God.
Yeah, we might get in trouble with the FBI, but
Yeah, right.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. Appreciate the chit chat video here and some Bears football.
Cool.
sorry for cutting out again. Ethernet cable, you guys got to educate me.
Ethernet. All right, guys. Until our next video. You guys have a good night.
Yep.
All right.
Goodbye.